Okay, so I woke up today and I remember, oh man, it's really dark. Ugh, that's stupid. Hang on. Did that do any good? I don't understand that. Like, it's perfectly light before I hit record. Anyway, I woke up today and I, like, my cat woke me up super early, like, way too early. Like, earlier maybe than he, like, ever has. um, 2.5 hours before feeding, he was like in full feed me mode. And it was really weird to be awake that early. And he ripped me out of like important dreams, like, purposeful, like soul work on another level type of like stuff. And because I was like ripped out of it, I don't really remember it anymore. And it's not important except to like just say that like the purposefully like just from go the intention of this day was like purposeful. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've been thinking about that one relationship that I had, and just going over it, which like I do go over it, but I tend to go over it in the framework of it being a trauma and like reliving it, and not objectively telling my story. So much of my life has been traumatic and horrific and bad, and so much of it like doesn't phase me at all. Like, all of those things for like very very brief periods, I was like really really messed up from it and had to do so much soul work and just like staying present, living present, continuing to choose to live even though suicide is kind of like an ever present thought for me. And I've really been examining that because what is that going? Oh, my hair is getting long and it's like trying to do its split. It looked really weird. Like there was something on my head, but it was just my hair splitting. um, I've been thinking about that, and like how come like everything used to just bounce off of me? Stuff used to bounce off of me, and now it's like sticking. Like really sticking. Like I'm like traumatized. It's like that's not cool. That's not cool. That's not okay. And I have these experiences where like I'm like I don't want to be that person, and I'm like, oh God, I don't want to be that person, because I've just been in a lot of mental hospital health settings where there is someone who is presently processing their trauma, and they're a mess. And there's this thing that happens where they're telling their story, but they're not telling their story. Like they're participating in like victim mentality or something, and they're like emotionally involved in it. And so I was just trying to like look at my story from the from like the perspective of it, like this is my story, like this built me, and also I chose this, like why why did I choose this? I didn't want that. I didn't want to be hurt like that. And the fact of the matter is that I've had tremendous soul growth from this experience, and from the moment I met this guy, it was like, oh shit, a soulmate. Like just right away. And that is like that soulmate. Okay, like I'm not not at all in a romantic context. Like, I met him when I was, like, happily, like, betrothed, like no possibility, like, from my perspective, no possibility that any like of his, like, any of his shit was gonna touch me, because he wasn't. Anyway, so I met him at a friend's house. He was a coworker of someone who was really a special friend from high school, and I like, good connection, good time, and I friended him on Facebook, and it's like, we didn't really, like, interact for years. Like, for several years it was just him, like, leering at my photos, and, I'm sure from his perspective he's like he's using me. He's using me to satisfy something, and he's objectifying me. And these are things that I had not considered, because when he entered back into my life, like, in the physical reality, like, when he became, like, really interested in, like, being a friend to me, was as soon as it seemed like my relationship was on the rocks and I was available. So, like, red flag, danger, right? And here's what I'm like trying to say. Here's one thing I'm trying to say, is that I recognized this was a soulmate. Like, that it was a fateful encounter. And had I not, like, just obligatory friended this person, they would never have been in my life. Not ever. I would not ever associate with someone who was, like, a former junkie, burnt out, lazy loser saddled with a daughter and an ex-wife paying child support. Never. Not ever. Like, in no universe just would he ever factor in. He only did because of this Facebook thing. So, like, that's how this, like, leech person latched on to my life. Now the fateful encounter, like he could be a friend, like, he might be interesting to talk to, but like my motivation for that was like, oh, somebody to, like, share conspiracy theories with, and, like, and do that, and, like, like, you really like, you really do need to be cautious of those connections, because a lot of conspiracy is rooted in fear mongering, and archontic energy, a lot of people who are interested in conspiracy theories are rooted in fear energy and archontic propaganda, by which I mean propagation of a species. And so, yeah. And then the other aspect was that, like he regarded my perspective as almost like this sideshow spectacle. Like, here's this girl with a rockin' bod with, like, this, like, freak show, like, this crazy bitch. And so, like, not a morbid curiosity, but, like, something like that. Like, not clean, not a pure intention. And he wasn't a good person. He's not a good person. And he wasn't a good friend. He's not a good friend. And this person latched onto me and tried to use me and abuse me, and did for a time, but the way that I live is purposeful, right? So if something If someone enters my reality who I invited in and like mistakenly mistake or not, my purpose is expansion of my consciousness. So whatever that entity, that person's intention, or like they're a bad person, but I'm going to like wrench good growth experience for me out of that like husk, and really use them to my advantage. And the thing is that and this is all like hindsight, and I'm also like figuring out as I go, and I only have 18 minutes and 39 seconds and I'm at 10:57 now, so there might be another video. But I wasn't consciously aware of that. In fact, I was not even like, the level of unaware that I was is like fucking nuts. Okay? Like when this guy like entered onto my playing field, like when he was able to access the plane of physical existence wherein I reside, it was because I had been taken down by psychotic break, like an actual felt like spiritual awakening, like just really like intense belief in whatever it was that my mind was feeding me based on like synchronicities and reading the room, reading the TV, like whatever voices I was hearing. It just got like really bad. I had a psychotic break. I was put in the hospital, put on antipsychotics. Being put on antipsychotics makes me prone to being psychotic. And so I had another psychotic break. So I had psychotic episodes and was still under the influence of like the heaviest like chemical lobotomy, antipsychotic medications, and that's where he came in. So like hindsight's 2020. You look at it like, oh, that's how this parasite got onto me, because antipsychotics took me down like to the fear level, and that is what they do. And I will not ever change my mind about that, because I had no expectations or anything about them initially, and it was just my experience. I was like, yeah, I don't want to feel like this. I definitely need to sleep, and I have to function in society. So I was put on meds, and just like my immediate takeaway was like, this has taken my vibration, which I like naturally, even like as a teenager, like very high vibing, higher perspective, like operating from the seat of my higher consciousness, soul purpose, and it just like immersed me, it drenched me in this fear consciousness. I mean, it was seriously just like you felt I felt like I was being pulled down from the plane that I was on to another plane where fear energy is like dominant, and the consciousness and attention to power is like more prevalent, more present. So that's what they do. That's what they do. That's what they do for me. And I'm just saying that like I didn't like hear that from someone and have that belief and then experience that. Like that is exactly the experience that I had. That was my takeaway from being put on them thinking, honestly thinking, I'm fucking God. Nothing's going to touch me. It's not going to matter. Like, maybe it'll help because I do have this biological functioning, like, vestigial, like, body, but it's not going to change my spiritual resonance. And it fucking did. So, like, I cannot just issue it. And I can't not tell you it because of, and this is exactly, I guess, yeah, this is the point of it, because you are more vulnerable, you are more susceptible to those parasitic things that are moths to the flame. They go to the people who have the highest consciousness, who are able to operate from love and light to create a better reality. Because being able to create a better reality, to move yourself and enlighten others with your presence, takes the human vibration that the parasites, like this guy who is just representative of our quantic energy, we can say. It takes you away from being the food source for this parasitic energy entity. And yeah, so so they definitely want to stop that, obviously. And that's how this happened to me. So the thing is that, like, this husk person that, like, was nothing until they encountered me, went through the process of, like, having their consciousness expanded and just, like, freaking out about it, of course, because that's, I mean, that's what people do. Like, if okay, if you're, like, devout atheist and you believe in nothing, and you spend, like, consistently spend time with me, that perception is challenged to the point of you cannot even hold on to it anymore. So your sense and your belief is shattered. It absolutely shattered. And that's difficult for people. So obviously, like, we were in service to one another, because him knowing me lifted him up. He tried to drag me down, and I took a husk and I said, not a husk, reflection of self, growth. You be the mirror, and I will grow from looking at my ugly ass reflection. And that's, yeah. So, like, that's, like, the long and short of how to appreciate being physically, mentally, sexually abused, actually fucking raped. And that is the story. That's the story. Not I'm a victim. Not I'm a rape victim. Not me too. Like, I made it work. I made it work, and I'm better for it. And you know what I know? I know how to better avoid being latched onto via a husk of a person ridden